Investigation into alleged fraud in Minnesota's Somali community. A viral video claims to expose misuse of taxpayer money that was supposed to be spent on social services. Now, federal agents say they're going door to door to investigate, as the state's Democratic governor is pushing back on allegations that he's ignored the issue. Minneapolis Star-Tribune senior investigative reporter, the affiliate KSTP, reported on license violations at some of these sites back in January. They revealed 62 investigations involving federally funded Minnesota child care centers. And I know that you've investigated this in depth, too. So what are the facts?
This daycare program that was the target of this most recent video was the first state overseen program that led to fraud charges back in 2014 through 2017. They built 10
a massive investigation into child care and other widespread fraud as DHS and the FBI ramp up a statewide crackdown. Federal prosecutors say that the total fraud in Minnesota could ultimately be more than $9 billion. ICE Director Todd Lyons joins us now. Mr. Director, thanks so much for joining the program. I want to bring your attention to this. This is a stat that we got from the Attorney General. 98 individuals were charged. 85 of those charged are of Somali descent. And we know that some of this money was going to terrorism and, of course, criminal activity. What can you tell us about what you're learning on the ground?
ICE has been on the ground in Minnesota for a while now looking at these fraud claims. And one thing now the Homeland Security Investigation Special Agents are looking into is just that you said, that money trail of where this money is going to foreign aid. Obviously looking at any type of links to any criminal activity, obviously terrorism activity. And one thing...
We're on the ground in Minneapolis conducting a massive investigation into the multiple ongoing fraud schemes happening in the city. Attorney General Pam Bondi is warning lawmakers to buckle up as this investigation is far from over. The AG also announcing that officials have charged 98 in this investigation, with 85 of those being of Somali descent. Who is next?
On scandal in Minnesota is expanding as the feds surge resources to the Democrat-led state to investigate. Welcome to a brand new hour of America's Newsroom. Good morning. I'm Molly Line. Hi, Bill.
Molly, good morning to you. I'm Bill Malugin. Bill Hemmer and Dana Perino have the day off. The Department of Home...
Today, the world's attention is once again focused on the Russia-Ukraine war as a major and potentially game-changing development has emerged from Washington. The United States has offered Ukraine a 15-year security guarantee as part of a broader peace plan, a proposal that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky himself has publicly acknowledged. According to Zelensky, this offer came during high-level discussions with former U.S. President Donald Trump, who is once again playing a central role in shaping America's foreign policy narrative. The proposal suggests that even if Ukraine does not immediately become a member of NATO, the United States would commit to protecting Ukraine's security for the next 15 years, ensuring military, strategic, and defensive support to prevent any future large-scale aggression from Russia. Zelensky described the offer as a serious step forward, but made it clear that Ukraine believes long-term peace requires even stronger guarantees, ideally lasting 30, 40, or even 50 years, because without firm and lasting security assurances, any peace deal would remain fragile and vulnerable to collapse. The discussions took place at a time when the Russia-Ukraine war has dragged on for years, causing massive destruction, loss of life, economic instability, and global uncertainty. Ukraine has repeatedly stated that it cannot agree to a ceasefire or peace deal that leaves the country exposed to another Russian attack in the future. Zelensky emphasized that Russia has violated agreements in the past, and therefore Ukraine needs legally and militarily binding guarantees, not just political promises. The proposed 15-year U.S. security guarantee is being seen as a compromise formula, offering Ukraine protection without formally extending NATO membership, which remains a red line for Moscow. The United States believes this approach could help bring both sides closer to the negotiating table, while reducing the risk of further escalation between NATO and Russia. The discussions took place at a time when the Russia-Ukraine war has dragged on for years, causing massive destruction, loss of life, economic instability, and global uncertainty. Ukraine has repeatedly stated that it cannot agree to a ceasefire or peace deal that leaves the country exposed to another Russian attack in the future. Zelensky emphasized that Russia has violated agreements in the past, and therefore Ukraine needs legally and militarily binding guarantees, not just political promises. The proposed 15-year U.S. security guarantee is being seen as a compromise formula, offering Ukraine protection without formally extending NATO membership, which remains a red line for Moscow. The United States believes this approach could help bring both sides closer to the negotiating table while reducing the risk of further escalation between NATO and Russia. Donald Trump, speaking after his meeting with Zelensky, claimed that a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine may be closer than ever before. He suggested that discussions with Russian President Vladimir Putin are also ongoing and that there is a realistic chance of ending the war, if all parties show flexibility. However, major obstacles remain. Key unresolved issues include the status of Russian occupied territories in eastern Ukraine, the future of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and the question of how ceasefire lines would be monitored and enforced. Russia has not officially responded to the 15-year security guarantee proposal, but analysts believe Moscow will carefully examine whether such guarantees indirectly expand U.S. influence near Russian borders. International reactions to the proposal have been mixed. Some European leaders see the U.S. offer as a practical step toward stabilizing the region and preventing a renewed war, while others worry that a limited-time guarantee may not be enough to deter Russia in the long run. Military experts argue that the success of this plan will depend not only on the duration of the guarantee, but also on its strength, including weapons supplies, intelligence sharing, air defense systems, and rapid response mechanisms in case of violations. Zelensky has stressed that Ukraine will not sign any agreement that compromises its sovereignty or leaves its people unprotected, even if that means prolonging negotiations. As the war continues to reshape global geopolitics, energy markets and security alliances, the U.S. proposal marks a crucial moment. If accepted and implemented effectively, it could open the door to ending one of Europe's most devastating conflicts since World War II. But if talks fail, the war may continue with even greater intensity. For now, the world is watching closely, as decisions made in these negotiations could determine not only Ukraine's future, but also the balance of power in Europe for decades to come.